Hi, I'm Lanny, and this is Preserving Today. Today I'm going to show you how I make fermented apple pie filling. What I wanted is all the flavor of apple pie without added sugar and somehow fermented. So I set out to see if anyone else had thought of this, and I Googled fermented apple pie filling, and all I got is people doing fermented apple slices in water with some warm spice, which is great, but I wanted a really strong apple taste like you get in apple pie filling, so I didn't want to add water to the ferment, and that's when I came up with this great idea. So I'm going to show you how I make basically fermented applesauce, but with apple pie spices, but I'm going to call it fermented apple pie filling. So first thing you do is peel and core your apples, and you want to use fresh, sweet apples that are crunchy but really sweet. So in this case, we're using apples from our Honeycrisp tree, and I'm deciding to peel them today, and we're using the Johnny Apple Peeler, and it's this great tool that basically spiralizes your apple at the same time as peeling and coring it. It's so easy, a toddler can use it and they love to. It's nice to have help in the kitchen. So I'm gonna peel and core the apples, and then I'm gonna grab my Cuisinart food processor. My plan here is to basically make a raw apple sauce and then put chunks like you would have in apple pie filling into that apple sauce. And the finished product should be similar texture to apple pie filling. And then if I use the apple pie spices, then we're gonna end up with something delicious. So after everything's peeled and cored, I'm going to put most of my apples into my food processor, and I'm going to puree these completely. And into that, I'm going to add my apple pie spices: clove, nutmeg, cinnamon, and some powdered ginger. Also a little bit of sea salt. And once all of that's pureed, I'm going to add that to a bowl and then mix in some big apple slices that I've chunked up a bit. Once that's all mixed together, I'm going to put it into my wide mouth canning jar. I'm going to put one of these white reusable lids on top. And all the stuff like the Johnny Apple Peeler and these lids I'm going to link to in the description if you want to pick those up. Once it's in the jar, now it just needs to ferment. Fermenting it's going to do a few things. It's going to make this have healthy probiotics for your gut, but it's also going to make all the flavors meld together. And it's going to make this slightly effervescent. And that effervescence is, I think, what makes this applesauce so special. Most applesauce is cooked and it's great, has this cooked apple flavor, but in this case you have the bright, vibrant, raw apples and it's slightly effervescent, and then now with these apple pie spices and this great texture from the chunked apple, it's really good. Now, the key to fermenting sweet things that you can't keep submerged under a brine, especially, is to stir. I stir this at least twice a day, sometimes 3, and it's going to ferment quickly, only 12 to 24 hours, maybe 48 if your house is really cold. But if you're going that long, you are risking getting a boozy applesauce. So here it is, like 8 hours later. I'm going to stir it real quick before I go to bed and check it again in the morning. Oh, in the morning I'm going to stir it again, and I'm thinking this is already done. So this is only about 20 hours since I first started it. And I can tell this is ready because it smells really good, but it doesn't smell like alcohol yet. But it does smell more exciting than it did initially. When I stir it, I can see a lot of bubbles coming up and hear the sound of effervescence. That means fermentation is started, and we don't want it to go too far. So we're going to stop it right away by moving this into the refrigerator or eating it. Now, I wanted to get my kids' opinion, of course, because this one I had in mind for them as a great quick dessert. Had no added sugar, just whole fruit fermented with good probiotics. And let's see what they have to say. What do you think?
Pretty good.
Pretty good indeed, little buddy. Okay, that's it. If you want to make fermented apple pie filling, this is a great way to do it. You don't have the sugary sweet aspect, but you do have this fresh apple taste with all of the spice in your apple pie filling. After you're done, keep this in the fridge and eat it within about a week.
Apple pie.
Have you fermented applesauce before? Let me know in the comments. I'm Lanny, and this was Preserving Today.